Welcome to Realty Talk, where we talk real about real estate. No hype, no selling, just facts. My name is Frank Rodriguez, the manager here at Casabaya Realty Group. And our goal is to bring you transparent and useful information you can use when making your real estate decisions. We're breaking down the numbers. Very important video today. So I'm going to ask you to stay till the end because I have a bit of inside information that if without this information, you may get yourself in trouble. Okay, so stay to the end and make sure you benefit from that. Okay, now in the previous video, we went into the different KPIs to measure the performance of a residential income property. And today we're going to break down the first KPI, which is the GRM, Gross Rental Multiplier. And the way we're going to do this, because I'm a very hands-on type of guy, theory is wonderful. There's a lot of smart people out there. And then there's those of us that actually do something with what we learn and in practical terms. So for this, in keeping in line with that, we're going to use a live property, okay, an actual property that's available for purchase now. It may be you may be someone looking for an exchange and maybe want to exchange to this property, though this is not the purpose of the video. It's more so we can use real life numbers, okay? Now, a quick note, since we're going to record different videos per KPI, we're going to use the same property so we can stay consistent with the numbers pertaining to this one property. For now, we're going to use it again for the GRM KPI. Though, as you keep coming back to the future videos, know that we won't change properties for that reason. Okay, that way, as you go through the different videos, by the end of this series, you'll have a better understanding of the KPIs because we're going to keep it consistent to this one property. All right, so hopefully that will be helpful. Now, with the GRM, Gross Rental Multiplier, as you can see on the screen, the asking price for this property in the city of Hawthorne, located in Los Angeles County here in Southern California, asking price is $2,950,000. Okay, if you're familiar with the LA area, you know where Hawthorne is located. It's considered part of the South Bay. We do have an office in the city of Lawndale, which is a neighboring city next to Hawthorne, as well as in Downey, we have another office. But for this example, for the next few videos on the KPIs, we'll be using this property located in Hawthorne. All right, so it's 11 units total. And as you can see on the screen, the rents are there per unit. And the column we're looking at is the actual rents. So the first thing we do is add up the numbers. Now, wherever you may be getting your rents from or whatever property you are looking at to purchase, just make sure that you're looking at actual rents. And wherever that information is being provided, there's other ways we verify that. And that would be through the rent roll. You need to make sure that you see the rent roll. Now, if you have experience in doing this, you understand what I'm saying. If you don't and you're starting investor, the rent roll is usually provided once we open escrow, right? Now, some agents, some owners are okay putting the rent rolls out there beforehand, and usually it's better that way. But in case it's not available before opening escrow, it will be provided. It will be provided once we open escrow. So that's the first place we verify the actual rents is the rent roll. The second item used to verify these rents are the tenant estoppels. And what tenant estoppels are is a certification that each tenant has to sign, and the information has to be provided as to how much rent they pay, what's their deposit, when was the last rental increase, and very pertinent information signed and certified by the tenant. This way, when you take possession of the property, the tenant can't say, oh, I wasn't paying that amount. I was paying this amount. We have something in writing certified by them and the owner, right, the seller. Okay, so why is this important? Because the math that we go into, in this case, the gross rental multiplier, we need to be able to trust the math, right? If we're going to invest a significant amount of money, trust and verification is a big part of that. So there are ways to verify these rents. Now, for the sake of this video, we're going to use what's you saw on your screen is the multiple listing service, where the rents are put on there on the actual rent column. We add those up, and it gives us $18,592 per month. Okay, per month. So that's the first step. The second step, we convert the monthly gross rents to annual gross rent. So in this case, we would take 18,592 and multiply by 12 months, which would give us $223,104. Okay, so that's our annual gross rents. That's the first part of our formula that's needed. Okay, now what we do is, with the price, which is $2,950,000 for this particular property, these 11 units, we take that number, $2,950,000, and divide it by the annual gross rents. In this case, it will give us 13.22. Okay, that's our GRM for this property. Now, if you've been watching the videos, we did mention what's a good target to be in as far as a landing GRM, and 13.22 would meet that target, especially in the city of Hawthorne. It's one of the 88 cities in LA County, and it's not rent control. It doesn't have city-specific rent control. It falls under the state rent control, and this makes it a bit more favorable. And this property could even go as high as maybe closer to a 14.5 GRM. In this case, it's 13.22. So it's priced right at $2,950,000. Now, what is the GRM? It's just the first screening process, where it says that based on the annual rents, it would take 13.22 years to pay off in full the price, $2,950,000. Now, is that reality? No, because we know we have taxes, we have maintenance, we have other expenses, though it just gives us a general view of that. How many years would it take to pay off this property with the annual gross rent? So at 13.22 is a good number to have on this particular property. Now, I did say that towards the end of this video, I will give you some insight as to being careful. Now, I'm not sure of what I'm going to discuss, if it's being done illegally or unethically, or what the issue may be. So this is not an indictment upon the agents that do this. This is more create awareness for you as an investor. Okay. If you look at the sheet again, if you look at the left side, the right side column, it has pro forma. Okay, some agents are still putting these numbers in there, and if you're an investor, you want to be careful. You want to be careful because pro forma, what that states is the market rent, where the market rent should be. Now, under AB 1482, which is the Tenant Protection Act that passed a few years back, pro forma numbers aren't as relevant anymore. Again, this is my opinion as a professional. This is how I guide my seller clients and exchange clients when they're finding a replacement property. We can review that, but they're not relevant to the pricing. And the reason is this: if you're familiar with AB 1482, we know under state rent control, which in this is the case for this particular property in Hawthorne, it's 5% base increase plus the CPI, right? Consumer Price Index. Right now, the annual rental increase would probably be around 7.8%. Now, if you look at both columns, the actual rent to pro forma, you'll see some of those numbers exceed that 7.8% allowable rental increase. Now, is this done again maliciously on behalf of the agents selling these properties? I don't think so. Maybe they're just letting you know that the market rents are this, but I think we as investors know we can't go in there and increase the rents to that number from the get-go, right? We have to adhere to AB 1482. And now, as far as resetting the property, evicting tenants, as it happened for so many years, under the Tenant Protection Act, there's things to look for before you do that. And we'll cover that towards the end of this series, more of 1482. Just for now, for the benefit of this video, know that if you're speaking with an agent or you're reviewing some information and you look at pro formas, you can view those more as, FYI, just information for yourself. Though don't use those numbers to calculate the investment. Use the actual rents from the rent roll, tenant estoppels, and then if you do see it here under actual rents. So in this case, it gave us 13.22. Don't use the pro forma numbers. Okay, so beware with that. And other than that, I think we're done with this GRM. Our next topic will be cap rate. We will use the same property. And, I ask you to look out for that video. If you haven't subscribed, do so, because I put out this information with the idea that those that do watch it can benefit from it. And if you invest with us here at Casabaya Realty Group, if you're in LA County, we go north to Kern County, we can go inland. We're here to provide the service along with this information. Now, if you're not in the LA County or surrounding counties of near LA, make sure you use this information to have that conversation with a specialist in dealing with multi-units and making sure they're aware of what to look for when helping you. All right. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.